So Di's been doing these Monday mornings, so say keep fit. Now I have to tell you, as a supreme athlete with a lithesome body and well honed, I didn't really think that I needed this sort of thing at all. Keep fit? Come on, you know, I'm ready for anything. Anyway, I soon learnt the first week that by carrying out a bit of exercise, it pulled and certain joints and muscles, well, supposedly muscles, and other bits and pieces I didn't remember I'd got. But what it did remind me is that as we get older, it takes longer to recover and it takes longer to get a little bit fitter as well. But I suppose what Di has really showed us in the weeks we've been learning with her is a little and often goes a long way, and you don't have to be very well toned, shall I say, and physically very fit to enjoy doing a little bit of fitness. And we really think that it would be a good idea to try and encourage many more of our members to start doing a little bit. So we invited her here tonight to just start the thought process really for you, for some of us really, about what we should do. And if you've ideas about how we put this over to our wider membership, we'd be dead pleased. We are thinking that there are some quite good courses around these days, but Di does super things that are actually a starting point for doing lots of other things as well. And we think probably that we ought to explore doing some things locally here in Pershore, but only if members actually want to do them. The worry is, of course, you mentioned the word fitness and people run a mile really. So without further ado, Di, she's going to introduce us to what on earth this is about really and how we should start. So over to you, Di. Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, come and sit at the front or stand at the front, whichever you're more comfortable with. Yeah. She's come a long way to join us, so thank you very much indeed for your
that part, to be fair.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed for coming.
Well, it's nice to see you all here. We do call it a fitness session, and it is fitness, but it's possibly not what you kind of think of traditionally. We're not throwing arms. Well, we move arms, we don't throw them about. It's all very controlled. So we start off with a little bit of a posture section, and that's the part that we'll do today. We then do a gentle mobilisation, so we'll just get all the joints working from the top of the head down to the feet. We then have a little bit of a warm-up, and the purpose of that is to get the heart rate a little bit higher, get the breathing rate a little bit higher, increase the temperature, just get the body ready to do something. We then do a circuit, and that's of 5 rounds, and we do an exercise to work the heart muscle, an exercise to work the lower body muscle, and an exercise muscles, and then an exercise to do the upper body. Idea being that you're working the whole body, but each body part gets a rest before you get round to it next time. So each exercise is done for up to 60 seconds. So that means that if you're not very used to activity, you could do it for 10 seconds or 15 seconds and use the other 45 seconds to recover. If you are used to it and you want to be a little bit more active, you can push yourself for the full 60 seconds. It doesn't matter. There are also always seated options as well, so if somebody's a bit wary about standing up doing things, we can always come up with seated exercises. So if you're up for it, and at the end we do a little bit of core as well. So we look at pelvic floor exercises, and then we just work the tummy muscles, the glutes, things that are going to protect the back, and things to protect the knees. These are 2 of my fine specimens, I have to say.
Are they going to come and demonstrate? Are they primed to come and demonstrate? If you want. Yeah.
So if you're up for it, we'll have a go at seated posture. So if you're happy to, just sit on the front third of your chair so that you're supporting your own body weight. Start with your feet together and then bring your toes out to 45 degrees and then slide the heels out to join them. So what you're doing in that way, and it works from standing as well, is bringing the ankles, knees and hips into alignment. Next bit's not so easy from seated, but I want you to imagine that the pelvis is a bucket of water, and just try and move a little bit to tip that water out of the front and the back of the pelvis. It'll feel a little bit weird if you haven't done it before. And then you want to try and find the point where the water sits level. Imagine there's a piece of string starting here and it's pulling you all the way up to the ceiling. So it's coming out through the top of the head, lengthening the spine, lengthening the neck. Roll the shoulders forwards. Roll them up to your ears. Roll them round and ignore the grinding. And roll them down into your back pockets. Okay, now, here, just pull up and in, initially as tightly as you can. Now that's going to feel quite uncomfortable, so loosen off at least halfway. That probably still feels a little bit uncomfortable, so loosen off a little bit more. You can feel you've got a little bit of contraction here, but you can still breathe normally, you can hold it. So that's a good postural position, same applies to standing. Do you want me to do a little bit of mobilisation, or do we need to move on?
I think you should do a bit of mobilisation.
Okay.
Yes, they're concentrating.
Okay, so trying to maintain that position, you can just sit with your hands on your thighs. Take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, just follow an imaginary horizon to the right. Breathe back into the middle. And follow an imaginary horizon to the left. Still keep your tummy pulled in. Breathe back into the middle. Over to the right. Up to the middle and to the left. Now this time when you come back into the middle, just let your chin drop down onto your chest and you should feel a bit of a stretch in the back of the neck. Hold it there for breath. Breathe in, look straight ahead, and then next breath out, slight tilt back looking up to the ceiling. And back to the centre. So we're going for more shoulder circles this time. We're going to start forwards. And make those as big as you can. We're then going to change direction, so we're going backwards. And again, try and finish off by sliding your shoulder blades down into your back pocket, so you're just creating a nice long neck, low shoulders. You might need to just move back a little, bring your hands onto the table. I want you to imagine that your hands are on helium balloons. And they're just going to float up to shoulder height. And then create a little bit of resistance, press the balloon back down to the table. Take another breath in. As you breathe out, just let them float up, just keep them nice and relaxed. And back down. And one more. And back down. And then bring the shoulders up to the ears and push them back down. Fantastic, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Di. I went off walking last week. Can you tell? Anyway, it did remind me after the second day, you know how when you were young you did sport or any sort of exercise, it was often just a little twinge the next day, but it was the day after, wasn't it? I think. So when you're walking for 3 or 4 days in succession, you know, it catches up with you, doesn't it? Well, I have to say that little bits I'd done with Di, I must say, helped enormously, and I found I was able to keep up with my friends reasonably well. But I've had to accept that I'm not as fit as I was. But the thing that she's taught me really is the importance of doing something, whatever it is really. I mean, some of you know I do footpath work, you know, I try to get out and do things in the countryside. But there's no doubt at all that having that little bit of discipline through Di, to go and do it every week, and it's making a start, isn't it? You know, it's daft really, but I don't have the courage sometimes to make the effort to go and start and do it on a regular basis.
I would say, Gordon, as well, that a lot of the exercises I try and incorporate are ones that are kind of injury prevention ones. So they're ones that bring the body back into alignment and hopefully will prevent injuries, especially with the back. And then some of the leg ones I do it can help with arthritis by bringing the knee back into alignment and just making sure that all the muscles are worked equally. So it's as much about maintaining and moving forward and maintaining abilities as it is about fitness.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've wondered really whether we have a coffee and chat in Pershore fairly soon, just about starting, you know, with a chat about it really, like we've had tonight really, but exploring what the difficulties are for us as a group and where we go to from there really. Grinding has certain implications for some of us with bones and structures that are sort of getting on really, and I think one does have to accept that you start gently with a bit of help from people like yourself. Anyway, thanks ever so much for coming, and I hope we can prod a few more people into joining us right across the county really. And we're looking at doing other things with Di as well, you know, taking it from one level to another really, for ladies and gentlemen and partners, whether you can do it seated, or whether you can do it standing and running around. Anyway, do you like the idea anyway?
Yeah.
You think it's a good idea?
It's
Yeah,
excellent.
sure. Have you got any questions, I should say?
Well, not so much questions, but John and I go to the balance and strength class at the leisure centre here. It's an hour
Is that with Holly?
with Holly.
Yeah.
Well,
You're probably familiar with it, I imagine.
Yeah, I am, yes, yeah. No,
and
that's really good.
It's very much the same sort of thing. It's,
Yeah.
If you can't stand up and do it, you sit down.
Yeah.
So it caters for everybody that's there. So you don't feel that you've got to be, you know, Charles Atlas sort of thing.
No, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we find it really, really good because it's gentle exercise, but it really gets your, you know, your muscles and your tendons and all things
Yeah.
sort of, you know, going rather than seizing.
Yes, yeah. Any questions? Yes, Lindsay?
Yeah, there's an observation. The other thing I think that's very useful, certainly for me, is you're not doing it on your own.
Mm.
So you're doing it with some other people, and guess what? Some of the exercises you can't do as well as other people, and other ones you do better. I find, in my case, my balance is pretty terrible, but you know, if it's physical, I'm okay at that. And it's quite nice that you have a little bit of a chat, and almost it doesn't matter if you have a bit of a laugh at each other as well, as long as it's in good stead. So
Yeah.
I just find being together rather than being by yourself with the weights in the room, which is, well, I won't do it.
Soul destroying. It's just soul destroying, isn't it?
No, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
do it. I wouldn't do
Yeah,
it.
Harry.
How do I find the link to join?
Well, that is straightforward, of course. If you go on to the website, you're familiar with the Kidderminster Worcestershire Prostate Cancer Support Group website, aren't you, Harry?
There's a link there.
Now, there's a link there, so I hope one or two know about that, but you will find the link on the website. And our friends here tonight, Daniel in particular, who's helping us enormously, with Richard sitting over in the other corner, are really actively at this moment upgrading the website to help us give you the information that you want as well as new members. And we shall have those sort of links. They're on it already for things like Di's sessions. In fact, Di puts them on every week after she's run them because they are videoed. So, you know, you
Only
can
video
find
myself, I don't video the participants, so you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah, I think, you know, Lindsay's point is very good about, you know, doing it with other people, but actually you're in your own room, in your own safety and space doing it. So, whereas, you know, Di has us doing all these half jack things like this, you know, my left arm doesn't go that high. So I don't feel embarrassed about it. Lindsay has a good laugh at, you know, Kingston down the road being one arm, but essentially it's good fun because, you know you can work to your own level, you know, and you can take a break. She encourages to have a drop of water or whatever. It is water, isn't it?
It is water.
So give it a go, I say, and just dodge in and out of it, join the exercises you feel comfortable with, really. Yeah.
And it's really good when you do it on Zoom, as we've been doing it. And then to come and meet people in the flesh, so to speak, and see how brilliant they look, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, you look only 22. I don't know what you're doing. Really.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I think it's a great point,
yeah,
doing it with people.
yeah. Yeah. Thanks very much. And anyway, thank you very much to Di. Anyway, it's great to see you always, and we shall hope to encourage more people to take a benefit from the super stuff you do for us. Thank you very much. A round of applause, please. But I think we should move on, really, to our main speaker tonight.